Please describe your first deal, including how you found it, and what did you do with it, and do you still have it today, including how did you pay for it. So first deal, how you found it, and how you funded it, and then what did you do with it, and do you still have it with it today?
Yeah, I guess I just answered that question.
And I did as well, but I know there's a lot of skeptical people out there, which I love skeptical people because I'm always the optimist, so I need people that are a little bit more skeptical to keep me in the road. What I did in 2016, I did 20 times already this year. It is still working, guys. Use other people's money. It is still working. I did my presentation for John Ford at the beginning of the year, showing people it still works. I did that presentation for 120 people yesterday. It is still working. It is still working. Use other people's money. Don't worry about how much you pay other people, as long as you make a little bit on the back end. Just don't worry about it. The other person takes the risk. Kevin is having a blast as well, because Kevin now is going to charge you 20%. Right? Like, John is going to charge you 20% after this meeting as well. But so anyway, as long as the deal works for you, you should not worry about whatever John makes or whatever Kevin makes, whatever your lender makes. Is it working for you, yes or no? That's all you should care about.
So my first deal was, I found it, somebody called me by accident. I think they were looking for Linda Craft team. I don't know how they found me, but they called and they said, I want to sell my parents' property. So I went out there and I was skeptical, but I hesitated because I didn't have a lot of confidence in this, but I knew what they wanted for the house. And it was in Raleigh, it was in cul-de-sac off Strickland and Six Forks, and they were wanting like $130,000 for it. So I grabbed he's a real estate colleague and friend, and this is one of the life lessons I didn't know about private lending. So I thought I had to do cash, and I didn't have $133,000. So I decided to go into partnership, but I didn't really dig deep into, this is a friend, don't go into partnerships with just anybody. It was the next lesson I learned. Make sure you have the same vision. And so we bought the property. People board had gotten out, but I negotiated with the son and the sisters. And what happened is, the life lessons were, I didn't have a GC that I trusted. I worked with handyman, and went out, try to get a GC. Some GCs wanted a permit, other guys like, no, you don't have to permit, you don't have to do that. And it's expensive, it's gonna take time. My partner loved that idea because it was just about the money and I was just hesitating. So I learned a lot. Long and the short of it is I do not have the property. I did sell it. We did make some money off it because by the time the loan and the arguments and what to do and what not, it was about a year that one GC to the next. But I learned a heck of a lot. So the next one I learned about private money lending, and yes, it's not went very well, so.
Well, I've already kind of told you about the very first deal I did, but there's one that I did in Raleigh. I bought investment properties and things like that, but paying retail or taking a property, and then turning it into a rental or whatever is a lot different than going out and grabbing something raw and taking it to its end. And I thought, well, I'll try something different. And my son had bought me an audio course on how to buy foreclosures. And I thought, I'd never done a foreclosure before, didn't know a whole lot about it, but I spent a summer vacation for a week just kind of listening, going through it over and over and over again. And I had partnered with an individual that was a general contractor. He just couldn't find a source for a property. So I said, well, let's try doing a foreclosure where we can buy it at below market prices, fix it up, and then resell it and make a profit on it. And we had bought a house in the what was it? Not Six Forks, Five Forks area, I guess. Down in that area, at the courthouse steps as a foreclosure. And I learned a lot through that experience on how the arrangements work, things like that. I got the deal first by putting in the bid, but didn't have the money to pay for it. So immediately we started scurrying, how can we come up with the rest of the money to pay for it? Because they only give you like up to 30 days, bring up the cash, and you can't wait for a bank. We actually got private funding from a friend of a friend who had money sitting around, retired couple. The bank was not paying them hardly anything. And we offered them at least double, I don't even remember what the rates were back then, but at least double what they were being paid on the CD. They cashed it in, made the loan to us. We went out and rehabbed the house, got it resold, and turned our first deal that way. But I learned a lot in that transaction of things that I never want to do again. That's where I hurt my thumb. I kept hammering and cutting away the nails. I don't know what it was. But I knew I was not going to be a rehabber from that point forward. And then learning about all the city codes and things like that, I learned I don't want to rehab things in cities. They have too many rules and regulations and all the red tape. So it helped me learn of what I didn't want to do in the future. But that was the first one we did, and we've capitalized on it because I still buy foreclosures across the state. So, and it's been, that was 1991, we did that one. So, and it's still profitable out there.
My first deal in 2009, I found a REO in Wendell. REO means real estate owned, but the developer of this subdivision, he went under and he had 3 or 4 houses for sale. And I'm not sure how I found out about it. I think from the Wake County government or Wake County side. So I went to look at these houses. Somebody was coming out of a door and I thought, wow, the realtor. So anyway, I got out of the car and introduced myself and asked him if he was the realtor on this property. He said, no, I'm the owner. I'm an officer at Wake Forest Savings and Loan. And so he said, I said, I'd like to, make an offer on it. And he said he was only interested in the principal. He didn't care about the legal fees and the interest on it. I'm pretty new at this, but it sounded like it was a good deal to that. So Jeannie and I bought that house. We moved in, and we made our townhome our first rental, and we still have it today. So that was my first investment property, was our townhome that we were living in, and that's the easiest way to get a rental. Move out of yours, and you already have financing in place.